Hey guys, so we're gonna keep the fun rolling here. So, something that I've thought about before, especially because there used to be this little section on the Nerdist uh, YouTube channel called Because Science. The guy on it now does his own separate channel, but I don't really watch it because it's not really entertaining. The stuff he did on Nerdist was entertaining because it pertained to comic book stuff, and he would go over all the different superpowers and why you don't want them. And I largely agree with him. However, I want to ask you guys, and please leave it in the comments. I know I don't get too many comments. I only have one subscriber, but I would really love to hear you guys' opinions on this. Okay, what would be your superpower if you could choose one? Now, notice you can only choose one superpower. Okay, you can't choose a superhero because some superheroes have a medley of powers that they are able to wield. Uh, Obviously, the superhero qua superhero is Superman, so totally unfair. Spider-Man as well. um, Wolverine. Most of the marquee superheroes have a medley of powers that they wield. So limit it to one superpower, not one superhero, one superpower. Now here's the caveat. Okay, there are certain superpowers that you can have that will, by necessity, have a bunch of minor superpowers involved in it to make it like physically realizable. Okay, so here's mine. Okay, if I could have one, it would be super speed. Okay, and I'll tell you why. It's cool. That's why it's freaking cool. And I would definitely be probably doing something involved in, I don't know, either national security or special ops in the military. Not that I couldn't do special ops in my heyday when I was younger, but I never tried. I'm not gonna front. I'm not one of these vets that come out and pretend that I was this badass in the military. I was what do you call it? I guess a cable guy. Okay, uh, I was a glorified cable guy. That's let's put it that way. It did require a secret level security clearance or whatever. But yeah, we weren't fighting. Okay, um, we called ourselves cable dogs. So I wasn't a badass. I wasn't a Green Beret or a Navy SEAL or Delta Force or any of the other special ops. Um, Not even a Army Ranger. By the way, in case you don't know, I just want to throw this caveat in. I know it's a tangent. There's two different types of Rangers. There's people who are Ranger qualified, 101st, 81. There's Ranger qualified, and then there's Rangers. Now, the actual Rangers is Special Forces. Ranger qualified is not. And that's not to say anything about them. They are paratroopers. They do their thing. They do their thug fizzle. If you need to knock out an enemy's airport, they're your guys. Okay. So anyway, getting off of that, I was not badass in the army. So yeah, if I had uh, super speed, yeah, I'll be definitely doing something that I could utilize that ability. And what's cool about super speed, as I was mentioning with the caveat earlier, is that to wield super speed in reality would mean that you have to use a bunch of other abilities to make it work. So, for instance, you have to have super durability. The reason you have to have super durability is because if you're moving at super speed, your body has to be able to take it, or you would die. Okay. Not to mention if you hit something, as like even when you're running, and for regular people, like if you brush against something, it would just bounce. It would just bounce off you. Imagine running at super speed because of basic Newtonian mechanics. That could be bad. Okay. So another thing, obviously, super stamina. So running at super speed, you gotta have super stamina. Okay. Um, but the coolest auxiliary power that comes with super speed is super mental speed. So when you're running, when humans run, unlike other animals, we have the ability to run and pretty much maintain our perceptual abilities as we run. Like we keep a steady ability to keep everything in perspective as we're running. Like other animals, literally, this doesn't seem like special because we do it automatically, but other animals can't do this. As a matter of fact, endurance running is an ability that all healthy humans have. This is literally something we evolved to do to to eat. Ancient humans weren't that smart. Well, excuse me, forget the smartness. They weren't that strong. They weren't that fast. So what they would literally do is chase their prey down to exhaustion. They would exhaust their prey to death. So as a amateur runner, I let everyone know who's healthy enough to do so. You can run. It's not something special that I can do that you cannot. It's just I'll have had more practice at it. Now, getting back to super speed, okay, you have to have super mental processing to be able to maintain your ability to perceive things in real time as you're moving at super speed, which means you could use that super mental speed in other capacities. So think how think how much easier it would be to study if you could if you could you know process a bunch of information in a fraction of the time that it takes normal people to do, even people of gifted intellects. So basically, having super speed would necessitate you being of genius intellect, because you have to have super mental processing speed to move at super physical speed. And as far as intelligence is now concerned, it's a form of you know information processing, and the people who are more intelligent are just better able to process that information much faster. So you're getting gifted. So you're getting a gifted intellect along with super speed. Now there's still problems with super speed that you might not want it. For one, you're gonna have to be consuming enormous amounts of food to maintain your caloric intake every day. That's a huge one. So you better use that super speed and more importantly, the super mental speed to get a really high band job so that you can consume huge amounts of food that you'll have to buy. Also, if you hit someone at super speed, that could get messy, which is why I wouldn't want super strength. But that can be a topic for another time. But if you hit someone at super speed, that could get ugly. And you're going to need to wear something. They touched on this in the Flash. But you're going to need to wear something that doesn't burn off you as you move at super speed. So you might have to wear some sort of aeronautical type clothing meant for astronauts or something like that, as in the Flash TV show, which they acknowledge, which I appreciate. I don't know what the hell Ezra Miller is wearing in his Flash, but I'm not gonna even get into Ezra Miller today. Like I said, we're gonna keep things fun, okay? But his suit sucks. the CW Flash suit is better. I said it. But yeah, so super speed will be my pick, guys. Despite the fact that it would be dangerous moving through space where I could potentially hit someone and cause some sort of Newtonian reaction, which would get ugly. And I would have to eat huge amounts of food, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. um, and the clothing would be an issue. But I'm willing to deal with those trade-offs. What about you? Tell me what powers you guys will want. Would it be cosmic intellect, super strength, flight, invisibility, uh, telekinesis, whatever? Please leave in the comments. I'm curious. Like I said, mine is super speed. Um, and no matter which one you pick, they all have trade-offs. Trust me. So, just something nerdy to think about, guys.